All right, today we're diving into a really beautiful and touching story by author Khushwant Singh called The Portrait of a Lady. Think of this as a journey through a powerful story about memory, love, and, the quiet way time passes us by. Let's get into it.
And boom, right from the get-go, the author just hits us with this incredible description of his grandmother. This isn't just about what she looked like, it's about her whole vibe, her entire being. This image of a calm, white winter landscape, that's the key to understanding who she was.
So let's really start to paint this portrait. For the narrator, his grandmother was like a fixed point in his universe. She was just always old. In fact, the idea that she could have ever been young and pretty was something he found almost, and this is his word, revolting.
We get such a vivid picture of her, don't we? She was short, a little bent, her face was a crisscross of wrinkles, but it's the little details that matter. Her clothes, always spotless white. One hand always on her waist to keep her balance, and the other, always busy with her rosary beads, while her lips moved in a constant, silent prayer. That was just her.
And this line? Oh, it's just perfect. It gets to the very heart of how he saw her. He's making a really important distinction here. That conventional idea of being pretty, the kind that fades, he just couldn't imagine it for her. But she had something so much deeper, a profound kind of beauty that came from her peace and her inner calm.
So where did this incredible serenity come from? Well, it all goes back to their early years together in the village. See, when the narrator's parents moved to the city, they left him in her care. And that created what he calls a common link of friendship, this really deep, unbreakable bond.
I mean, their lives were just completely woven together. Look at this routine. She'd wake him up, sing her prayers while she bathed him, get his school stuff ready. They'd walk to the temple school together. And while he was learning his letters, she'd sit right there inside reading scriptures. Their entire day had this shared rhythm, all the way down to feeding stray dogs on the walk home.
But then, everything changed. His parents finally got settled in the city and sent for them. And this moment, he says, was the turning point in their friendship. It was the beginning of a slow but, totally inevitable separation.
And wow, the difference between their two lives? It's like night and day. The little temple school was swapped for a big English school. Instead of learning about scriptures, he was learning about the law of gravity. They didn't walk together anymore. He took a bus, and with no street dogs to feed, she found a new outlet, feeding the little sparrows in their courtyard. Their shared world was cracking apart.
And you see, here's the heartbreaking part. She couldn't be a part of his new world. This Western-style education, with all its science and English, it was totally foreign to her. It made her so unhappy, not just because she couldn't help with his homework anymore, but because it didn't have that spiritual core that she valued more than anything.
And this is where things start to drift even further apart. As the years went by, he went off to university, he got his own room, and that distance between them just grew and grew.
Yeah, the author doesn't mince words here. He just comes right out and says it. Once he was at university, in his own room, that shared life they had in the village was completely gone. The connection, as he knew it, was snapped.
So how did she handle this? Did she fight it, complain? No, not at all. She just accepted it, quietly, with what he calls resignation. She just retreated into her own world, without a word of protest.
So her new life became this quiet, solitary ritual. You could find her from sunrise to sunset at her spinning wheel, always reciting her prayers. The one break in her day, the one moment of what he calls pure joy, was her happiest half hour, feeding the hundreds of sparrows that would come flocking around her.
Then comes this huge moment. He's decided to go abroad for 5 whole years. And the farewell at the station, it's just so her. She came, but she didn't show any emotion. She was just lost in her prayers, her fingers busy with her rosary. All she did was kiss his forehead, a silent goodbye that he thought might be their very last.
But it wasn't the last time. 5 years later, he came back, and there she was at the station, looking not a single day older. But this homecoming, it leads to the story's climax, to a really surprising and honestly profound break from her entire lifelong routine. Okay, this line right here. In the evening, a change came over her. It's so simple, but it gives you chills, right? After a whole lifetime of being exactly the same, day in and day out, something shifted. You just know something big is about to happen.
For the very first time, in all the years he'd known her, she did something completely, totally out of character. She didn't pray. Can you believe it? Instead, to celebrate him coming home, she got the women from the neighborhood together, found an old, worn-out drum, and for hours she just sat there, singing songs about warriors returning home. She put aside the one thing that defined her entire life for one single night of pure, joyous celebration.
But that one night of celebration, it took its toll. The very next day, she fell ill. She knew her end was near. And this leads us to the final, absolutely unforgettable scene of this story. Her death, and this incredible tribute from the sparrows.
And she just knew her time was up. She calmly told everyone her end was near. They tried to protest, but she insisted she had missed her prayers the night before, and she wasn't going to waste another second talking. She was going to spend her last moments praying, returning to that devotion that guided her whole life.
And after she passed away, something almost magical happened. As her body lay in the room, thousands of her beloved sparrows, thousands, filled the room and sat on the floor. But here's the part that gets you. They were completely silent, not a single chirp.
So, his mom, feeling bad for the birds, does what his grandmother always did. She breaks up some bread and throws the crumbs to them. But the sparrows, they didn't even look at it. They completely ignored the food. They weren't there for bread. They were there to mourn.
And this is the final image that sticks with you. The birds stayed there in total silence until her body was carried away for the funeral. Only then, once she was gone, did they fly away, just as quietly as they had arrived. Their silent vigil was over.
So this whole story just leaves you with this one big question, doesn't it? Her life wasn't about big, dramatic moments. It was about small, quiet acts of kindness and prayer, day after day. Her love was silent, her devotion was constant. And that silent tribute from thousands of birds, it suggests she had an impact that words can't even capture. It really makes you think, what's the true measure of a life well lived?